and the incredible organizations that I've worked with, there's a few things that I've learned that I truly believe with all my heart. The first one is that there is nothing more resilient than the human spirit. The second truth that I've learned is that nobody else can take your value away from you. You were born with worth, and no one else can take that away from you. Woo! And the third thing that I've learned is that it's not what happens to us that defines who we are. Bad stuff happened to all of us. Every single one of us has a story. Every single one of us has a past. But that doesn't define who we are. Does it affect maybe the choices we make? Absolutely. Does it alter our life path? Absolutely. There's no way I would be here today standing on this stage had I not been kidnapped all those years ago. So does it affect our future? Absolutely. But it does not define us. Ultimately, what defines us are the decisions and choices that we make. That is what truly defines us. As was mentioned, I grew up here in Salt Lake City, and it would be fair to say that I grew up in a bubble where I thought good things happened to good people, and bad things happened to bad people, and good always triumphed, right always won, evil was always punished, that ultimately justice was always served. I grew up truly believing that, and the night that I was kidnapped, I couldn't believe it was happening. I couldn't believe I was that person, that was going to be my story now. I remember that whole night as he kidnapped me at knife point and took me out of my bed and up into the mountains. I mean, just that direction, I think. Behind my home, thinking, why is this happening? How is this happening? Why would he choose me? Why would he kidnap me? I am not special. I'm not unique. There's nothing so very different about me compared to everyone else. Why would he kidnap me? There's nothing that special about my family that's that different from everyone else. Why is this happening to me? And I couldn't believe it. And that was the beginning of, quite frankly, the longest 9 months of my life. I remember that first day. I remember being raped. I remember being chained up. I remember being told that if I ever did anything that they did not want me to do, if I ever said anything they didn't want me to say, if I ever went against them in any way, that they would kill me. And if they didn't kill me, they would kill my family. And I was told that repeatedly for 9 months. And I truly believed them, because quite possibly one of the largest searches ever launched for one person was launched for me. And nobody found me. I remember helicopters flying so low overhead that the trees hiding us were shaking. The tent that they held me in was shaking. I remember actually hearing people yelling out my name and feeling like they were so close, but just barely out of reach. But it always seemed like my captors had the ultimate control. It seemed like they were invincible. And I made up my mind from the very first day that I wanted to survive. And the most important decision I could have made during my entire captivity was deciding to do whatever it took to survive. It didn't matter what it was. And that was how I based each decision moving forward. Will this help me survive? Will this help me make it to another day? And ultimately, I did survive 9 months, thank goodness. Without a doubt, it's one of the happiest days of my life. In fact, just from the walk from backstage to up here, I had 2 people stop and tell me, I'll never forget the day that we were rescued. I remember exactly where I was the moment you were found. And that story never gets old to me because it was one of the happiest days of my life, and I'll never forget where I was the day I was rescued. I will never forget how that day went. And I feel so lucky and blessed. I remember the day after I was rescued that I'd come home that evening. I was so excited to be home. I felt like everything that had been taken away from me had all of a sudden been given back. And I had some serious FOMO back then. I mean, I did not want to miss out on anything because I had already experienced so much being taken away that I didn't ever want to miss out on anything ever again. And the next day, I remember writing this message that my parents took on large poster boards to a press conference. And I remember just saying, thank you so much. I feel like the luckiest girl in the world. And that message is still true today. I genuinely do feel like the luckiest girl in the world because I have I'm not going to say happily ever after because my story is still going. My story didn't end the day I was rescued. I'm still alive. But I have had such a happy life since then, and I've been able to interact with so many amazing, incredible people and organizations, and it has been such an honor to have my eyes open to how much good there is in humanity. For all of the bad things that we see on the news every day and hear about, and we see it splashed over social media all the time, there is so much more good in this world than there is bad. And it's moments like today that I get to stand on a stage in front of this massive auditorium and look out at a huge crowd and realize that you're all here because you care. And if that's not proof of goodness in the world, then I don't know what is. And so with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for having me. Never, ever give up because the human spirit is so resilient and we all have struggles, but don't give up. Keep going. You are so much stronger than you know. Nobody else can take away your value, so you hold on to your worth and never forget it. And thirdly, whatever happens, it doesn't define you. It's the decisions and choices that you make. So with that being said, thank you so much for having me, and God bless.